2. All right there. Hey guys, welcome back to Star Night Research. I'm BD Knight, and I have Taylor Ackern with me as we talk about the newest Superman trailer that came out. I want to say thanks, Taylor, for coming onto the show for this holiday season.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, it's like what a time for during the holidays that we finally got to see a little sneak peek of what's to come for next year.
It was definitely a nice little tease to end on a high note for the year. Yeah.
Yeah, especially after the finale of Superman and Lois.
Oh, that show pulls very, very close to home for me. My wife and I actually took over my family's old kind of farmhouse that my grandfather had built and moved an hour outside of the big city and brought our kid here. And now we're having kiddo number 2 is here. So we've got Jameson and Jonathan, and mechanically there's a Jonathan always. So that had
There you
but
go.
yeah, that show helped us a lot with the decision making and helped us a lot while we were here get used to the very small town vibe that this is. So it was bittersweet to see it end, but God, they did such justice bringing it to a close. Yeah.
They did. Yeah, I wish that we could have seen more since they did plan for 7 seasons.
Mm-hmm. The Milton Fine Easter eggs and the Brainiac subplot that they led into the end of it, that could have been a really, really fun season.
Yeah, even with bringing Guilford Godfrey, because that he's from Apocalypse, because there was talk about bringing Darkseid into the show.
Yep, and then Tom Cavanaugh being that role of everything just was the icing on the cake. Like, he's a phenomenal actor.
Oh yeah, he is. You can always count on him to be a pretty good bad guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I heard that they were going to give him some role throughout the show, but I thought that it was going to be some multiversal tease into the old Arrowverse story, but it was really just a 180 to see Godfrey on screen and how he played it exceptionally well.
Definitely. I mean, it sucks that it was only 10 episodes, but at least it's something.
Yeah, like him on screen with Michael Colbitz as Lex, I think really brought to life that comic hatred that Lex harbors.
Agreed. Though it's unique how he has more hatred for Lois than Superman.
I can understand it. It's something that the comics never really touches on, but it makes sense that it would be there because Lois and Superman were always kind of a team and putting him away kind of thing. And like the comics always focus more on the Superman Lex grudge, but like if you think about it, the Lois thing would still be there. That would be a very, very sharp nerve. And they explored that very well in the story, especially with Lex's daughter and bringing that back and forth and Lois pulling that card back onto Lex later on. Like that was a surprise turn of giving him the adequate fuel for that fire.
Yeah, it was just interesting they brought that in because, I mean, I'm not that too knowledgeable about the comics, at least recent comics, but I don't think he ever had a daughter or any child specifically before.
Not that I know of either. No. So it was a fun kind of they made it their own certainly in the show, but it was a well thought out universe and everything that they did played into itself and made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tyler as Clark is just probably in my top 3.
Yeah, because when I did a Superman actors list, he came out at number 4 for the live action actors.
Mm-hmm. No, just it's weird how it works. If I always think just the more screen time you give someone in a role, like every minute that they can make it their own, they'll add to it. If they know the significance of that, like had Henry gotten to flesh out more of his story, he would have made every minute count. And we would have loved him even more by the end of it. Like I think his problem was they just didn't give him enough dialogue to show his inner thoughts of Superman. He showed it on his face and conveyed that emotion perfectly, but a lot of people saw it as just brooding. Whereas he was thinking through it. He was just thinking on his face and not saying it aloud. And that's where I think that misconception came about.
Agreed. Yeah, that's why I think when I did the list, that was also during the time when Henry was booted out of being Superman. So I think everyone was just voting for him. That's why he came out at second place, just behind Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm glad that Henry was what it was, like all the way around. Like his suit is the first one that I really put together myself, other than the classic blue leotard, red trunks, and cape. Like getting to actually spend hours and months puff painting that chainmail design and layering up the S of that suit with actual just puffy paint over and over, drawing in that script back and forth, like getting to understand what it actually means to wear it, and like going to hospitals and having kids come up to you like the in the movie when they say, this means something. It really does when you get to wear it and see it bring that light to the people who need it. It means something. And even this one here, it will too. Like
Yeah,
all of it.
that's one thing I'll say about with any version of Superman. I think no matter what it's from, whether it's from the classics, this newest one, or even with Henry Cavill, it still has a sense of hope.
Hmm. Like I remember when the first trailer for Man of Steel came out, I had my list of nitpicks. I hated the S. It should have had the trunks. I didn't like the actor. He shouldn't have been British. Like everything that I could nitpick about, I found a reason. And like I was 15 at the time, so there's that. But just over time, I grew to love it, and the more it resonated with me, and like it's everyone's always nitpicky until they get to experience it and it connects with them in some way. So everything has that chance, I think, in the Superman mythos to even from Kirk Allen to the Fleischer cartoons, like it all can still connect and resonate with people today. And Gunn's gonna do that. I think so.
Yeah, because like I feel like there's definitely some influence from what Zack Snyder was trying to do with Man of Steel and some of his other movies, but
Mhm.
I think with the sense of how there's more color and that there's I don't know, something that's a good mixture of how it's new, but it also feels timeless. Like this could have happened back in the day.
Yes, and like the wardrobe has especially caught my eye in the new Gun universe. Of it almost has like a '70s kind of dress feel to it. If you look at everyone in the Daily Planet and they're all wearing sweater vests, and it kind of it does look timeless. Like it could look '70s, it could look '80s, it still could be 2025 going into it. Like you don't really know.
Yeah, which is funny because some people are thinking like, is this going to be a movie set in the past or modern times?
I've had that thought myself of just seeing the cast. It'd be I don't know because we've also seen people have smartphones in the trailer and recording everything happening. So unless they do like some time jumps back and forth of in the past Superman came out and people received it poorly, so he had to kind of go away for a little while, and then other superheroes have taken their turn and kind of more corporatized the saving business. So he's got to come back out and show people why it should be done. Of no, we're here to help people and save people, not to make money and be a brand.
Hmm.
Like there's like I've been playing around in my brain a lot about just the different ways that they could kind of tease it back and forth of things happening, of showing the first appearance of his Superman, and then something happened and he has to go away for a while, or he just goes off world for a little bit, does some space adventures, and then comes back, and perception has changed of the hero personas. Like
Yeah,
Gunsmart, he'll do something that is very creative with it.
yeah, because I mean, I said this before. I wasn't quite sure that he would be my first choice to direct Superman, just because of all the stuff he's done with Guardians, the Suicide Squad. I just feel like his thing is with more obscure, lesser known characters.
Yes, I do want to mention though. There's another film that he had a big part in, Brightburn.
Right. There was that. Yeah. I mean, and granted, it's a
Brightburn,
very
more or
dark
less
Superman.
the dark turn of Superman, but in the sense of how that could have been shot as it had been just a Superman movie. I think that could have been like it. All of the ingredients were there for it to be something really special, and then it just turned horror instead of hope. But I I think Gunn knows what he's doing. He knows to take it serious. Like he, I think he took it on himself to direct it just because he knows how big this is for DC Studios as a whole, and he knows that if this fails, that it's all kind of flops after that. So he knows how important it is, not just as a movie, but as a universe starter. So
Yeah,
it combines the romance, the action, the inspirational side of it. He's shown bits of that in all of his other movies, but like this is the first real test of can you make an even blend of giving everyone what they want. So
true. Plus, at least from Guardians 3, we got to see some aspects of how he would handle Superman with I forgot the character's name, but he was
Warlock.
yeah, Adam Warlock, just because of all the powers that got he was exhibiting, like it felt very Supermanish.
It yeah, like it could have been certainly a practice if he had known back then what was down the road, but yeah, but all of his other movies have showcased different elements of that, and even all the other past Superman movies have balanced it well, but some have had more of a tilt on one side than the others. Like Superman Returns was almost more of a romance and an action. It had good action sequences, but it was a Superman Lois movie all the way throughout. And it was their relationship that drove the whole thing. So, like, you can say Man of Steel was almost too much action in that sense. Of it didn't have enough of the romance between him and Lois or the human connection side of it. So, balancing Man of Steel's action with Returns' romance with the Reeve inspirational Superman side of it. If you can hit all those trifectas on the head appropriately, then God, it'll be something special.
Yeah, because I'll admit, because hearing the classic theme through the guitar riff, like that was just beautiful.
And My Adventures with Superman, that guitar intro in that show had me just floored from the start. I love like classic rock 80s music, so hearing that in a guitar, like as an official DC theme, was awesome. And then hearing Gunn kind of take his spin on that, but just turn it into the old Williams, but with that new kind of twist to it, like he's pulling inspiration from everything, and it's recognized.
Yeah, because even with the first suit from My Adventures with Superman, it has a similar Kingdom Come symbol, just very more
Mm-hmm.
angular, like not quite like a. It's like a
Like
unique design kind of S, but
something more from, like top and bottom to the S part of it. Yeah.
yeah,
It's almost kind of like the absolute Superman, how it's the mix the Kingdom Come with like a Man of Steel kind of thing, and it just kind of hooks around on the ends.
yeah, and I like the end. Something tells me I think for with the movie, it might go with how the suit is from Krypton, but the shorts that's from home.
That would be fun. I can see them doing that just like in that the animated too.
Yeah, because I loved it how Martha just in the show just
It just needs
decided
something
to add
else. There you
force.
go. That would be a fun touch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I'll admit I definitely because I feel like when I look at the two suits, like my version is just basically the anime version.
more or less. I was really kind of hoping that we would almost get a live action version of that suit for Gunn's movie. It's still a close comparison, though. I'll take it. It still makes it its own thing. I get that because Gunn didn't say that My Adventures was the start of his world, so he would want to stick to that recipe.
True, but that does bring to mind as a cosplayer self. I mean, what do you say is your favorite suit to wear as Superman so far?
Oh, it's my favorite one to wear has got to actually be the Doomsday suit, the shredded, torn up one. Just because the reactions to that, like, are just second to none. Like, there's other Man of Steel suits out there. There's other classic suits out there. There's other gun suits out there, and like there, some people have done some shredded ones and battle damaged ones, but like the combo for me of being that was my first Superman suit that I ever got. I got that the Christmas that I was like 14, and I wore that one around the world when I lived overseas when my parents were in the military. So it's traveled with me everywhere. It has been kind of my suit that I've always had in the backpack somewhere ready, and it just got to the point where I kept on tweaking it, cut the neckline a little bit too far, and then I was like, well, here we go. So we're just shredding the whole thing, and I poured over every page of the Death of Superman comic book in the Doomsday fight and made every cut match as close as I could to that comic. I wanted to look like I had walked out of it.
Yeah, you really did a good job. I mean, when I went to New York Comic Con, you were like the first person I took a picture of, as far as for cosplayers go.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a special one just because the reactions you get from it are like people will immediately recognize and call out like the comic book issue and be like, "That's the Superman 90s. I love it. Absolutely." Other people are like, "Yay, zombie Superman." I'll take it. Like I got into the New York Post as zombie Superman, but a win's a win.
God, that reminds me of a story that Michael Burns told me, that when he met Tom Welling, when he was dressed as Bizarro, Tom Welling just called him Zombie Superman.
Oh God, yeah, that would hurt.
I mean, no offense to the guy, but he definitely does not know a lot about the source material of his character.
It was a job, not a title. Yeah. But for the other actors, you can see where they take it more as a personal responsibility, and it's a title that you never really give up. You're always going to be Superman to someone who saw you as Superman. Like even Dean Cain is still riding his wave, and like I love Dean Cain so much as Superman. His series was really what kickstarted me into. Yeah, I can wear this and go around doing this.
Yeah,
So,
he did a good job. Yeah, I would
like
say it was.
been a Dune spandex. Yeah, no, he killed it.
Yeah, because there really is no bad Superman actors, in my opinion.
Same. Yeah, like and I won't even say that there are any bad movies. They all just they have, like I said before, they lean heavy in one direction of the many aspects of what makes Superman Superman. Is one will lean more romance, one will lean more action, one will lean more his connection with humanity, or maybe his isolation from humanity. But they're all very interesting to explore. And like
Yeah.
Smallville, and I love Tom Welling's character. Like it'd be nice to see him embrace it more, like his legacy of what it means. He's come around a lot. I was at the Metropolis Superman celebration in Illinois when him and Michael Rosenbaum came down for that year, and like he was fantastic to the people.
Oh
So,
yeah.
he's coming.
They were such a riot. Like I remember, I think while I was in line for an autograph, Michael Rosenbaum came in first, but then he told us all just to like stay quiet, or I forgot, it was to say or do something when Tom Welling would come in. I just can't remember what it was, but it was just a little bit of a joke that they do with each other.
Everyone yawn and look at your watch.
That was it.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and that was actually my first time coming to the Metropolis Superman Festival.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna get to go this year just because the newborn and life being life, but like I'll certainly miss it. And it's been a special place in my heart for the last few years that I've gone.
Yeah, it really is a great place, whether, especially if you're a Superman fan. But I would say just if you're, for anyone who has not been there, definitely go there if you just like the community, because everyone there is very friendly, whether if you're at the festival or
Absolutely.
just over in that area.
And they're repainting everything, like breathing a lot of fresh life back into it. So especially now, it's a pretty good time to go and check everything out.
Mhm. Yeah, I just hope that for next year, if they get like James Gunn or any of this cast from the movie to be there as guests, I feel like that would be a great opportunity.
That would be awesome. Yeah, because the last 2 years, they had Tyler the year before or last, and then last year they had Bitsy Tulloch and Michael Cold, or not Michael Colditz, but Brandon Routh.
Yeah.
They had a couple of big names. I got to meet Michael at a con here in Tennessee at Smoky Mountain Fan Fest, and I talked to him about going to Metropolis. And he said that he's actually talked to Tyler and Bitsy about it, and that they all might make a trip now that they got some free time. So we'll see. It'd be awesome if they could all three come. That'd be a really really fun show.
Wow, actually, that would probably make sense for this upcoming festival as as a sign of
They've
passing.
all closed out, so might as well make some appearances. Or at least like the kids will probably do something. I know that is it Alex Garfin, who plays Jordan. He goes around and does a lot of events and things.
Yeah, I want to say I would say for the kids, like they may be a little bit annoying at first, but I mean they're teenagers. That's what they're supposed to do. So like
Yeah, they they did it as best they could.
yeah, but I get it because they want to be free. They don't want to live out the same way Clark did.
Mhm. Well, and I also give like whenever I see teenagers on a TV show, I give them this little like grain of salt of it's usually the adults writing for the teenagers. So any acting that may not come across teenager esque, it's probably not their fault. It was the 40-year-old or 50-year-old writing their script.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that's why I love the fact that for Superman Lois that as far as relationship drama, it was better handled than other CW shows.
Yes. Oh yes. Like that, and Smallville did a really really good job handling the relationships back and forth, but that was also how they kept it going for 9 seasons. So they just kept on doing relationships back and forth.
I don't know. I mean, I think the whole thing between with Clark and Lana and Lex, like that was just getting a little bit annoying after a few seasons. At least for me, anyway. Are you still there?
All good.
Yep. Okay. Gotcha. But yeah, but I guess as far as with Lex, what do you think of Nicholas Holt playing the role?
He's killed about every role that he's ever been in, so I don't see why this one would be any different. I There's enough other portrayals out there now that I think that he can get a decent idea of who to be in the character and where to come from as far as motivation, story, all that stuff. Like Guns characters usually have a pretty decent.
Oh, must be their connection issue. Hello.
And stay back and forth behind the scenes. They've given each other appropriate help, so that'll be fun to watch.
Gotcha. Yeah, you were kind of going out a little bit. My bad, little connection issue. Sorry about that.
Oh, all good. But yeah, Nicholas Holt has done awesome in everything he's been in. I don't see why this would be any different. Gunn gives really clear direction. So like all of his movies I've seen, most of the time everyone seems on the same page about why everything is happening the way it is. So like as far as giving Lex the motivations he has or the story he has and why, I think it's going to be a really special kind of twist. Seeing him with the cages and the revolver, like it's got minds rattling everywhere of what's going on. Whether he's
Yeah,
metahumans or just experimenting on other stuff, is he making kaiju's? Who knows?
yeah, that's why I'm interested because James Gunn
Like,
stated that this movie is a love letter to the Silver Age of Superman.
yeah, the sci-fi mad scientist. How far are they going to take it? Kind of thing.
Yeah, because I'm just curious, like, did Lex capture Superman or something? Because there was that shot where he was like breaking out of a glass
Mhm.
prison or something.
I don't know. Like it may be a similar Man of Steel vibe where he allows himself to be caught, thinking it's going to be a conversation, and it quickly turns into it's not a conversation. And hey, I'm imprisoned here, and I got to escape. Or I don't know. We might see other little clips and snippets of like I loved the '90s animated series. If they could do a similar kind of run, or just like a little side story in the film of just one of the little saves or adventures is him being abducted onto like the DC versions of the collector's ship with Lobo in that storyline, and then they
Oh
have to
yeah,
both
that
pull it
that'd
out.
be cool.
If it's something like that, where like he's collected as a specimen of like being the last Kryptonian kind of thing, that would be interesting to see in that Silver Age aspect of they could pull that off and tie it still to that world very well.
Yeah, I could see that happening. But yeah, because I mean, as far as for just to let some of the viewers know, because I see some questions saying that yeah, we're not because we're not running down the trailer. The trailer does look great and everything with the music, the visuals, and everything. Like like I say for both of us, we're definitely excited to see this.
Yeah, no, you feel the vibe of Superman of hope when you watch it.
Yeah, it just I would say the only thing I'm concerned with is just which although I'm glad that they haven't really showcased a story exactly through the trailer, so they won't reveal too much, but I'm just concerned about with the other characters that we're getting, just because Dawn of Justice did that with seeing Batman, Superman, and other members of the League, and now with this, we're getting Green Lantern, Hawk Girl, Mister Terrific, and Metamorpho.
It seems like a lot to throw in right off the bat. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I will defend it by saying that at this point, that I'm glad that we're not seeing an origin story for Superman. That this is one that's already been established.
yeah. And like it saves a lot of time in that aspect of we don't have to spend an hour learning where he came from or why he's Superman, but we can just spend an hour watching Superman do Superman things. Like that's why we're here. That's why we're in the theaters. Do it.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it makes more sense just to see other characters, especially if this can be part of a shared universe.
Yeah. And like we don't know, like they may only be in it 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Like it may not be that they're in it for the entire run of the movie or even half of the movie, but they're literally just a little blink and boom, there's their little part and they're done. By kind of stories.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy about Guy Gardner's look in the movie, though. I'm hoping that's just an adjustment after this movie, at least with the haircut.
But yeah, or like their chance to do it justice is if the the perception of Guy Gardner throughout the other characters of the DC universe, if that holds true to what we know their opinions are of show me Hal and John going, no, Guy stays out of the league. Like let him be that vile and that volatile to the rest of the members of the core and the league and all these superheroes around him of yeah, everyone kind of hates Guy Gardner. Like, let him play into it. Sure, give us that version.
Yeah, I would say so. Though I'm impressed what they done with Metamorphose look because I wasn't sure how they're gonna go about that look. If it's
Yeah.
gonna be just makeup or CGI effects, and it looks to be a little mixture of both. I mean, maybe just more makeup.
The close up of the face is like I had a lot of people confused of who it was at first. But, like you can see little orange and purple corners on his shoulders at the bottom of the frame. Um, and yeah, no, I'm excited to see it. Like in some way, somehow, he plays into the story of like he's got to help Lex formulate some kind of like synthetic kryptonite or something, or like using his powers with a sample of Superman's DNA, he makes an Ultraman clone or something like that. My brain has just been nonstop trying to figure this out, and it's a fun, let's say, just kind of thought exercise, if anything, of just playing out, what with Superman's stories we haven't seen brought to life yet.
Yeah, because I was always wondering about what that Ultraman look because he looks like that character. I think Black Noir from The Boys.
It's very very close. Yeah, just purple.
Yeah, which is ironic because I think in the comics, Black Noir is a clone of Homelander, I believe.
Hmm.
Though I think that's kind of a nod to how with Batman and Superman, that out of their secret identities, they look very much alike.
Yeah. Um, hmm. I don't know. It could be that like it's a clone of Like that's our Superboy, and it's Lex's DNA thrown in with Superman's.
That could be. I figure maybe that or a take on Bizarro. So we'll see.
It's
And
like
let's look at a question. What is your thought on all the people who decide to hate on the movie just because it's not the Snyderverse?
I was initially part of that bandwagon when it first started. Um, and it all boils down to this is some kid's first Superman movie. Like, yes, we as adults have our preferences, and like the way that I say when people ask me, am I excited for this movie? My initial response was, my 14-year-old self would have been over the moon about it. Like the more that I see about the costume, about the story, about the music, the more I love about it. Like it all has influences of Superman, but like the adult side of me loves Henry's so much just because it is that deep philosophical. It makes you think about what it would be to carry that weight of responsibility on your shoulders. Like, yeah, you have super strength, but that's still a lot of people to help. And it showed that struggle of Superman having to think through that and realize what that actually means to him. So I'm not necessarily like letting it go because it still exists. I can still enjoy it. I still have it. It's not going anywhere. The movies are real. The Snyder cut exists. It was released. We won that battle. So I'll enjoy it for what it was and what it got to be. We got the second chance at Justice League being the Snyder cut of Justice League. So after that, I, we're in the new timeline now. Like it is what it is. The past is the past. We will respect that while we embrace what the future will bring. And like
Yeah,
I've worn my Man of Steel suit to all of my charity events. I've worn it to hospitals. That's in my mind, that is my S. That means hope to me. So I'm not letting it go as much as I'm just also embracing what this one can stand for. So
yeah,
it's just letting them all be Superman. That's what it's about. Is Superman wouldn't hate on any other version of himself. He would respect them all and make sure that they all stood for what Superman stands for,
I
which is
agree.
like
Because,
justice, a better tomorrow.
yeah, because as much as I would like to have seen Henry Cavill really shine as a character, because I don't know, I feel like it would have been nice to see some kind of sequel story or maybe a soft reboot. I mean, as far as for him against Black Adam, like I could live
Yeah.
with or without it, just because to me it's like as great as that fight would be, he has to face Shazam, Captain Marvel first because they're supposed to be the arch rivals,
Mm-hmm.
or at
Which
least yeah, or at least
I,
just a live action version.
I
Oh
won that,
yeah,
by
I
the way.
saw that post.
Won that fight. Magic did not get the upper hand that day.
Not, I can't believe you actually put that together. Like, do you had to tore up like the Captain
Yeah.
Marvel costume just to sew that one in?
I handmade, hand sewn the whole Captain Marvel suit, and then like went through the process of sewing on the lightning bolt just to then cut it back off the chest, so I could carry this around and just go hard. But no, absolutely worth it for the experience. I got to meet Jim Lee while wearing it, and like it took him a second, but he recognized the cut that it was from, and like he'd stared at me for a hot minute and was just like, public enemies, public enemies. And I was like, yes, yes. Like it is one comic panel of the entire comic run, but worth it for the costume. Just because the moment of Superman ripping that lightning bolt off and pinning Luthor to a wall, priceless.
Yeah, like if you show it to Ed McGuinness or Jeff Loeb, they'll know right away.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But yeah, even just like walking around New York Comic Con and it, like I got a lot of people recognizing the reference, which like it's a very specific, deep cut of DC, but great costume to wear. A lot of people have fun with it.
Oh yeah, I read the comic lately, and I love the movie adaptation.
Right, and like that Superman is one of my favorite interpretations of Superman. Of like even with Luthor as president, he's still going to stand for what's right.
Yep.
Like
Yeah, because
even though
oh,
yeah, even though like the Superman Batman relationship in that is also a really really good one too. Of Like him nearly killing Luthor over thinking Luthor killed Bruce. That's a fun, almost to the breaking point of Superman. But he just beats him across the world back and forth for everyone to see, and lets Luthor incriminate himself doing it all.
Yeah, because that line, I always remember that line where he says, "That was my best friend."
You just killed him.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't
Like
tell
it
it.
gets me still.
Don't tell it to Jimmy.
Right. But
Yeah, I
yeah.
always like that interpretation of Batman Superman. It's just like watching the '90s animated series with that movie. Just everyone hopped up on steroids,
Yes. More or less. Like yeah,
especially Luthor.
oh yeah, like that's one thing that I really hope that we get to see, that like other than Michael Colditz, we haven't really gotten to see an Alex of like Luthor wanting to be the human side of the best, like the physical specimen of what the human species can be. Like I want to see that Lex take it on himself to be like, screw you, Superman, I'm a man and I can do what you do. Like I want to see him that driven, and like I'm not saying put Holt through bodybuilding to get there, but like it shouldn't all be a mind game with Luthor. Like he should be able to at least go toe to toe for a few rounds if Superman were powers. Like Superman and Lois showed that pretty well, but you know they also showed Superman winning the fight.
Yeah, and I think he's one of the few actors of Tyler that really got to be very like fit, not quite exactly like a bulky or bodybuilder type.
Mm-hmm.
Though I would say, I think for when the show started, he definitely put on a little bit more muscle compared to his appearances on Supergirl.
Like that, and my wife was a huge Teen Wolf fan throughout the years, and she informed me that he always did kind of look like that, but you can tell that he bulked up for the Superman part. He was always lean, he always had the six pack, but he definitely put on the muscle part to embrace the role.
There
Like
you
yeah,
go.
I want to see Lex balance that and bring that to fruition too, because like Nicholas Holt's tall, isn't he? Like he's almost as tall as David is.
Yeah,
It's
because
like
I'm not sure about Nicholas's height, but for David's height, he's 6'4".
yeah, like Holt's, I want to say 6 foot or 6'1". Like he's up there a little bit. So they're close enough that like yeah, David's still gonna be taller, but like Lex isn't gonna be some scrawny little small guy. So they can play it up and give him some bulk if they wanted to.
Yeah, and in that one shot, there was uh, Lex looking very much like Hitman with the gun.
Yes. Yes. Like yeah, it's interesting how all that's gonna play in. Like um it's like I worked at a gun store for a few years. Like the models of guns are specific choices for a lot of people. So like, why would Lex have a revolver? If anything, like, is that just a special kryptonite bullet that he had just for that one occasion, or like the weapon of choice comes into play more often than not? So like, my brain's racked about why a revolver, why not some sci-fi plasma rifle or kryptonite ray gun?
Who knows? But that brings the question to mind, because I know you said that for the battle damage Superman suit is your favorite, but I've also noticed that on social media that you have worn the latest suit from the movie, but you got it signed by James Gunn himself at New York Comic Con.
Yes, yes, that is actually over in my corner here. Let me go ahead and turn the camera just a little bit. I have just finished building my new little display case. This is my Christmas present that my father helped me put together while he was here for a week with me. And so we got it all lit up, got little LED lights all through it, my little corner rack display next to it all. But yeah, I
Very
figured
nice.
I already got the replacement to wear out to events, so this one's going to be locked up safe behind here for a little while. And oh yeah,
Oh yeah, so you got the other one. All right.
it'll be a good time. Like once the wife gave me permission for the display case and the mannequin and getting the replacement, it was not not long before things were ordered and on their way.
How did it feel to wear the new costume?
It's it got a lot of really positive reception. I'll say wearing it and being inside it compared to the other Superman suits, it is not my favorite to wear. It is hotter, it is tighter, it feels more restricting to move in, but it looks good. So you suffer for the cause. It's just one of those things of the wearing a cosplay of they're not always most comfortable, but you'll do it just to do it. So I'll suffer for it. But yeah, people loved it. Getting it signed, I was the only person in that entire panel room for the Creature Commandos panel. Like the one day James Gunn is going to be at Comic Con, I thought that there were going to be 30 people wearing the suit in that room, and I was the only one who did it. So immediately when he first walked out onto the stage, he pointed out at me, and I was pointed up at him. And he sat down, and the moderator pointed out. He's like, "I see you saw a Superman out in the crowd." And James leaned into his microphone and said something, and his mic wasn't working. And he had said, "Yeah, I saw him right there out in the crowd." And then he's like, "My wife's not working. My wife's not working." And started yelling. So they got his mic working again, and the moderator doubled down and asked the same thing. He's like, You saw Superman out in the crowd." He's like, "Yes, I did." And I jumped up. Like I jumped up the first time he said it, but his mic wasn't working. So the second time, I damn near flew and jumped up saying, "Yes, sir, right here." So right off the bat, he knew where I was. He knew that I was in the suit. I had the curl was probably one of the better curls I've had throughout the years. So he at the end of it, I got to get up to the stage and kind of it was a mob, but fought my way to the front, and just for the quick enough moment of me yelling, "Sign my S, sign my S." Him going, "What?" And I was like, "Sign my suit." And he's like, Your suit." And I was like, "Sign my S." And he's like, "Okay, yeah." And just yeah. Like I didn't have a marker on me, but there was just I yelled, "I need a Sharpie!" And just my hand went back and 15 hands with markers came forward and handed me a marker. Like
They were
it was one of
prepared.
those moments. Yeah, I had my other best friend Julian was in the crowd like 10 feet away from me, and so he got pictures from afar of just me in a spotlight of a crowd, and James just right there signing it. So I'm gonna have those pictures printed out and then put over the shoulder of the suit in the case. So those moments will be kind of framed along with it all. And
Wow.
like, like, hey, James, it'd be really nice to there's another spot on the S for David's name at a premiere in a couple months. That would be nice to go to.
Yeah, that's just amazing. Yeah, because like I don't think yeah, because I mean I was there only on Sunday that weekend, and yeah, I don't think I've seen anyone like wearing that suit. I say you're probably the only one I've that made that entire weekend that wore that suit.
Like I bumped into other guys wearing it throughout on other days, but that's what got me was like the day that the director is going to be there, wear his costume. I was the only one who thought that, and it worked. But like that also played into favor of during the big DC photo shoots that day. I was the only one wearing that suit, and we had a Reeve, we had a classic, we had like Dean Cain, we had the Man of Steel, and I was the only one in the New Legacy suit. So we literally had like full timeline of all the Supermans, past to present, and it was just a fun full circle thing. Like no one really planned anything out, but everything just worked out exactly how it needed to.
That is great. So we plan to wear that suit only when you get a chance to have the other actors sign on the costume.
Hey, if James Gunn will get me to the premiere, I'm wearing that suit and having David sign it. I'm not gonna say I'm paying for it to go myself, but yeah, no, there's another spot on that S.
Definitely. It's just the way he said it to James. It made me think of that line from Lois when from the '90s anime series when she says "nice S" and Clark was like, "Excuse me."
Damn it.
Oh, you okay? Oh, seems to be having more technical difficulties. Sorry about that, folks. But yes, let me look at the questions here. So yeah, general thoughts for the movie so far is that I have high hopes that this will be a great start for DC, and based on what I've seen with Creature Commandos, I think we're good hands for James Gunn. Plus, he's not going to be the sole director of every DC product. Let's see. Not sure what happened with Taylor, but I'm sure he'll be coming back soon. Sorry about that, folks. Let me just see what's find out what's going on here soon. But if any of you, let's see. Oh, hey there, Hunter Iggy. How's it going? Let's see. Let's see. But I want to say to Batman in the Chair that if you're still watching this, is that as far as for the whole Snyderverse, I didn't mind what they were trying to go for, but I think what's done is done, just because, unfortunately, this was not Zack Snyder's original intention. Because I believe he just wanted to make Superman movies, like just do just the three movies following Superman's story, not involving an entire DC universe. But Warner Bros. Reared in and basically told him to make something out of it to compete with Marvel, which is how we got Dawn of Justice. I don't know if that was his original intent, because there was some script readjustments. Because I think it was originally supposed to come out on 2015, but then it got pushed back to 2016. But James Gunn has met with Henry Cavill, and there might be something in the works. Hard to say as far as for his take on Superman, if it's going to be within the Snyderverse as an Elseworld story, or perhaps also make something like Kingdom Come or Red Sun. All right, let's see. Well, Hunter G, I see your question, and I want to say I think the suits could get updated. I would like it to be, because I don't hate it, but I do think it should be better adjusted with the pattern or something, just because I did like how they designed Henry Cavill's suit. So let's hope for the best with that one. Because I don't mind the trunks, the design of the S and everything. I just think maybe even if it has a more open neck kind of suit, because for someone for Taylor as cosplaying, if it's going to be very constricting and hot, I can imagine it's probably the same for David when he wore it while filming. Let's see. Yeah, because honestly, but I would say if for Superman, if they're gonna go with the trunks design, I think the suit should look somewhat like the Suicide Squad game, because that design of Superman's suit, that looks perfect to me, where it's classic but a little bit modernized, where it's more than just a simple fabric suit. But much like with Robert Pattinson's Batman suit, they are trying to go with a mixture of different eras of Superman, with having the whole New 52 setup with the classic trunks and everything, and then having the symbol from Kingdom Come. So we get a little bit mixture of 2010 decade with the 90s and classic, and from the 40s. Okay, looks like it's back
Are
on.
you there again? So
Yep.
sorry about that.
Not a worry, man.
Minor technical difficulties, but all good to go.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure if you dropped your phone or something.
Having chargers ready beforehand goes a long way.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Newborn parent mind. A lot of things are not firing on all cylinders currently, but yeah, still good to go.
It's okay. We've all been there. But we have a question saying that do you think that for James Gunn's Superman, will we get an updated movie suit?
I
Something that
kind of hope we do. I really want to see a newer take on the classic suit that is just a spandex. Chris did it, Dean did it. It doesn't look bad when it's done right. So if they can pull it off and give it more or less the returns look, but a brighter red and bigger S, absolutely go for it.
yeah, yeah, I was just saying that I definitely think so. I mean, because sometimes with these movies they always change up the suits after a
Like
little while.
it's a marketing opportunity, it's a branding opportunity, it sells more action figures. There's going to be some tweaks and some additions to it, but just what they are and how far they'll take it on that next version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like another question. Do you see David Cornsworth say this looks like a job for Superman?
I see him doing the up and away. The this looks like a job for Superman is very hard to write in. I don't think we're gonna get that one. It'd be really, really cool to see. He's got the deep voice for it. So
Yeah, because I'm not familiar with his with him per se, but I have looked at certain clips from some of his other work, especially I think in the show Hollywood.
I've not seen him in anything else yet, not even Twisters. So I'm going into it completely blind to him as an actor. I probably should watch something before, but I just haven't yet. So we'll see as it gets closer. I might look into something.
Yeah, yeah, because I was actually telling in the chat that I think for what Superman's costume should look like would be something from the Suicide Squad game.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, just because like while the game is not so great, at least for how the characters are designed, especially for the
Mhm.
Justice League, like it's pretty spot on. Like for Superman, it looks modern, but has a touch of classic with the trunks and everything, and with the
Mhm.
open neck.
I was gonna say, yeah, it needs to be a deeper cut, open neckline, like the tight collar. Just, eh. It looks good as a Superman look, but when you play it off into, could you wear that underneath a suit? It gets like that. That's Superman. It's like you should be able to hide under normal clothes. So,
Yeah, but I
but
mean,
mm,
I say in general, like I don't see how you could really hide that under a suit, no matter which costume it is, because I mean, despite
yeah.
the collar and everything, what about the cape?
So the cape is plausible. The boots are the hard part. It's like Christopher Reeve is really the only one that you could plausibly get into big dress shoes and tuck the cape up to where, like, yeah, you wouldn't tell with a coat. With a shirt you could probably tell it's a little bit puffy, but like an overcoat or jacket you could get away with it.
Yeah, that's why I feel like for with Superman, his suit should be very like I guess could say skin tight, so to speak.
Agreed. Like the original comics said that is why it doesn't tear as much. Was Martha said, like, since when they were making his costume in the original comics, and Martha said, like, I just read it a day or two ago. It was like since he was 12, she noticed that the clothing really close to his skin didn't get torn or damaged or burned. So she made the costume as tight as she could so that like his little protective aura would keep it from getting torn. She's like, we can't protect the cape much, so we're gonna have to make a bunch of those, but you know, at least we don't have to go through the main suit more than once.
Yeah,
And
because
like up until
like
Doomsday, that was really the first time that it got like torn up. So it was always the cape got tattered, but not the suit.
yeah, because I always wonder like when you see Superman flying through space and stuff, like I wonder like how durable is all that fabric, with re-entering the Earth's atmosphere and stuff.
Yep. Um, yeah, I really am curious to see how they play into it. If it's a half and half of a Kryptonian suit with Martha's influence and kind of making it more like kid friendly and brighter, and like as David's whole thing with adding the trunks back into it was he wanted to bring back the idea of the heavy strongman wrestler type persona that Superman originally was created for, of to make the public trust a guy that can do all these amazing alien things. You have to see his face. You have to be able to trust him, and that's part of the brand. That's why I'm glad that the yellow S is back on the cape. It has been too long since we've had that. Like, Gunn was spot on for that design. And like in the trailer, you can now see that like it's not just like a hard silicone or a hard rubber emblem. It's actually a fabric S on the cape. And I've talked to other people that have actually been on the set of the film, and they said that no, it's screen printed on to look shadowed like it would be a harder emblem and have those ridges in different definitions, but it's all just one flat printing. You still get it to like flow in flying shots, and it's going to look good. I'm excited to see that part.
Yeah.
It's like that's all that was missing in the Man of Steel flying sequences was a yellow S on the cape. Just that one little cherry on top would have made it for me.
Yeah, or even it just would be like a different color, because I want to say in the New 52 was, I think, a black S on the back of the cape.
Yeah, that was the New 52 was the black S.
Yeah, at least I think. I remember seeing that in some of the New 52 animated centric movies where they had it with the collar, and how at nighttime it was very purplish blue, which I did not like that shade.
Yeah, like it should be like if it should reflect into like a different kind of metallic color, like let it go lighter, not darker.
Yeah. Agree, but I almost forgot. We forgot to mention probably the biggest highlight of the trailer, Crypto.
Yes. So I have a big white German Shepherd Husky mix who is upstairs. I've got my own big Crypto, and I am so excited to see him not put in as a cameo, but to actually play a part in the story. To see Superman crash land and whistle for him and say, "Hey, take me home." It's going to be good. It's going to be really good. I'm definitely going to want to smuggle my big 90-pound dog into a theater, and that's not going to work.
Yeah, it's just funny because I mean, this is not the first time we've seen Crypto, because like we saw him like in Titans and also at the end of Superman and Lois.
Which like the Titans Crypto was like, get that dog, bring that dog back. That was perfect. Like that was Crypto to a T. Was like the kind of whitish hound lab mix. Yeah,
and I like the fact that for in Superman and Lois, Clark got him later on in life, which is like, to me, it was such a callback to Batman Beyond, where as an old man, Bruce would have Ace as a companion.
Yep. Like it mirrors that very nicely, but like it. Again, I love that show because they played the story out to make it make sense. Of like, he got lonely after everything happened the way that it did. So, why not get a dog?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, although I bet you if they had more seasons, we probably would have seen a dog for at least a season or so.
The boys needed a Crypto in the house. That was the only thing missing. Yep.
Yeah, I would have liked it if they had like a whole episode of what their lives would be like in the future.
Yeah, like instead of like a little 10-minute glance, like it would have been nice to just have, or even just half the episode set in that timeline. Because like I wanted to see Steel, like the behind the scenes pictures they revealed afterwards, like he had the full comic accurate Steel suit, like without the helmet and with the S and the cape and everything, and they ended up just having to do a quick little CGI flying shot of him, but it wasn't the way that it should be. So like they could have fleshed out a lot more and brought a lot of it in. And like the references they gave throughout were really, really nice callbacks, like Babowski's and Metropolis, and all just the different little Easter eggs they would drop. It was very nice and very thought out.
Yeah, I guess I was curious if for the boys, like as adults, like are they just patrolling the world or so as super people, or just living normal lives?
Because like it was shown that Tyler was very much the world's Superman, and that's one thing that I loved about his portrayal the most. Is like I was a military brat. I spent 5 years in Germany, 5 years in Japan. I lived around the world and got to learn other languages and experience other cultures. And seeing him go to Russia, seeing him go to North Korea and help people who just need help, and being able to talk to them as he's doing so, stop a bank robbery in Mexico and say, "Hey, it's going to be okay," and have people trust you because you're actually just talking to them. Like, yeah, that's Superman.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I guess it'd be interesting to see, like, I guess by that point when Superman's like really old, has he like really retired? Like, is he like just normal? Because I know they were sent. I know the
Like,
writers were basically telling us that that's going to happen in the context
yeah,
of the show.
um, I would think so. Like, he would retire and let the boys take it over, because he, during his highlight of his career, was like one Superman took care of the world. So why wouldn't two Superboys be able to handle it just as well?
Yeah.
And in some comic iterations, like in they play with the thought of him having kids and grandkids, and how the power will transfer throughout that line, and it kind of dilutes every time that there's a new generation. So you end up with having like a great grandkid, and each of them only have one of his powers each, kind of thing. It's like they could still take it a lot further and play with it down the road. Of, if you have three kids and one has heat vision, one has eye breath, and one can fly, like, what do you do?
It makes it think of how they done with Shazam. I think between like him and Billy and all the kids,
Mm-hmm.
just like with
Like,
the whole like courage, speed, strength abilities.
Like, it divides it up to where they get a focus of one each. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but still,
Oh,
like, I'm glad that we have Crypto there. I mean, I seen some like I seen a lot more praises, though some complaints about that, but mostly could think because of the type of dog that this movie
yeah.
Crypto is.
That was my biggest gripe. Was like, I've got a big hound dog and a big German Shepherd Husky mix. They're both 80, 90 pounds each, and like, I love big dogs. I've always loved big dogs. So like, getting to finally get a live action Crypto, and it's a little scruffy thing. It's bittersweet, but I'll say it is eerie that my mom's dog is just about the same exact breed that the actual movie Crypto is. So my mom has a small white scruffy dog exactly like that, and we've already got some fun game plans for the next con season. Of He's her like emotional support dog, but he knows me. So if I'm on the ground at a floor, like, well, on the ground at a con, and I yell for his name is Chewy because he looks like Chewbacca with all the scruffiness. Yeah, if I yell for Chewy, my Crypto will come to me through the crowd and come right to a Superman. So I mean, we're playing some fun ideas back and forth.
Oh yeah, I can just picture just you just lying there on the ground, like, and I imagine you're probably gonna add like the bloody
Oh
makeup
yeah.
effects.
Yeah, but between the shot of him crashing in the snow and the actual Doomsday fight of Superman and Lois, my Doomsday makeup has got to level up for next year. I've
Yeah,
got a lot of good references to go off of.
oh yeah, because that's one thing I forgot to mention. Like when you, because I think I have seen very few people that done the Death of Superman look, but you definitely went up a level with all like the makeup, makeup, and really showcase like the bruises, the scarring.
Like, cause I if you're in a fight, like, every punch that lands isn't not going to leave a mark, especially fighting something like Doomsday. So like, every grab will leave a bruise, every punch, every backhand, every kick. Like, I tore off one of the toes of my boots, saying, if you go to kick a giant bony monster, your boot's probably going to tear off where your toes would be. So, like, all of it was just all the way thought out. But the next year the makeup's going to be on point. Like, even oh, I'm excited for it. I've got a lot to learn, but it's going to be well worth it.
Oh yeah, because when I made like those photos of you, I barely had to add. I just had maybe just a couple little extra like bruises on you.
Right? Like, I noticed it wasn't much, so like, thank you for that.
Yeah, I think it was just mostly I think with the shot with you against Batman. All I had to do is add some more like on the back. Just I figure like your whole body should be
I
more
I
bruised
did
on.
all of that by myself, so pretty much where my arms could reach was where the makeup stopped.
Yeah, no,
So,
it makes sense. I think for with the other shot you had like where had you looking up, ready to fight again. I think all I had to do was add just a couple, I think, around the shoulders, just
But
a little
yeah,
bit.
no, like going full bloody knuckles Superman, it's a good cosplay. Like
Yeah,
people appreciate it a lot when you throw in those little details of just like one little cut along the cheek that blood's dropping down a little bit. Yeah, people
yeah,
notice.
yeah. That's one thing I'm trying to figure out in the movies. Like, what is that giant like energy thing in the city?
Oh, I I've got a few ideas. Whether because with Creature Commandos coming out, we see a lot of the world building of Gun's new universe, and Cersei is a big part of it so far, and her being purple magic and all that. I could see it being a Cersei battle against someone like Guy Gardner tries to step in and handle it, and he needs a little bit of help, so Superman shows up to help Guy, but you know maybe that's when Superman learns that he's kind of weak against magic and things don't go that way, and they can lose that fight, or it could be purple and green are Lex colors.
Hmm.
Are we finally getting Lex in a proper like green mech suit? Please,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, that could be cool. Yeah, and I just realized if they're going up against something with magic too, then Hawkgirl would be the best option to have because her mace disrupts magic.
It's like, yeah, depending on what the battle is or the crisis is, it's going to be interesting because we've seen the other characters there during the day, but we also know that trailers can play tricks on people, and like Marvel has purposefully edited things incorrectly for trailers to throw us off.
Yep.
So who knows? But the part that like the first trailer or the first suit reaction was him suiting up on the couch with that in the background, and now we get to see that he's talking to Lois in the room before he goes out to actually fight it. That's an interesting play on that whole situation of the stakes have to be raised a little bit higher, I think, for that.
Yeah, because it looks like whatever's going on, Superman seems to be like unmotivated to do something for a while, which is why he's like in his, I guess, an apartment. And it looks like for with Lois, she's gonna know exactly who he is, either at the beginning of the movie or somewhere in the middle,
Mhm.
unless that's her apartment.
Could be, very
Yeah,
much could be.
yeah, because I mean, she's an investigative reporter, so like she's gonna find out like they did a Man of Steel, because that's one of the things I did like about that movie.
Yes, like unless they hit it so on the nose that it's not even a second thought to her of and like the 90s series when he's just like, well, actually, Lois, I'm secretly Superman and I'm just here stealing your bylines, blah blah blah. And she's just like, yeah, sure thing, Smallville. Like if you can play it off like that and get that reaction from her, that'll help just kind of glaze everything over for her, I think. Help
Yeah,
seal the illusion.
yeah, that's why I feel like maybe halfway through the movie she's gonna find out.
Yeah.
Maybe, or at least towards the end, just because like we saw Clark and Lois kissing, and then just like and then
I
I
just
think
watched Superman 4 yesterday for the first time in like honestly probably 20 years. And like it's painful watching the Lois have to act like she doesn't know Clark is Superman. Like it's hard to do right. Like in the first couple movies, they did it really, really well, but towards the end they just I don't want to say got lazy with it, but just it wasn't put in to as much. So did you could tell.
oh yeah,
If David can sell it, let him sell it. I want to see the Clark that can fool everyone,
as long as there's no memory wiping kiss.
or rebuild it vision. Yeah,
God, that's even worse.
watching it with the 5-year-old and having to explain what just happened to the Great Wall of China, and yeah, he fixed it by looking at it. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I would say I would not have shown that to your kid, but it's I'm sure there's still some good moments in that movie.
There are a lot of good ones. There are a lot of very, very good ones, and it's little fine moments like that I can tell helped inspire other medias in little bits and pieces. Like that's when we see him save the space station and speak Russian to some of the astronauts. And then we see him make a save in Italy and speak some Italian back and forth. So like Chris was another one that did the multicultural Superman, but like we also got to see the side of him that was the kind of loner, isolated Clark that didn't connect with anyone and went back to the farm that just wasn't what he used to be and had to deal with that and that he's aging and everything else or sorry that everything else is aging while he isn't. And so like it reconciled with a lot of that too. And that's something that I never noticed as a kid watching it was like it had a lot of good like Clark moments throughout it. Hidden juggling everything back and forth between being Superman, Clark, and Kal-El.
Yeah, I agree, and so that's why I believe that with Superman 4, the Chris Reeves had like a, I think he personally wanted to do something unique with this project, but I think for how it was handled with other producers and or with other people, I'm not sure exactly who, but it got changed around to what we got with some of the visual effects and reusing certain shots for with power, especially with that shot of him flying through something. I think for like a few times.
Those were used a lot. So there are some parts that like watching it through, you're like, yeah, that's why this movie is what it is. But there are good little nuggets sprinkled throughout.
Yeah.
Or like you get the public service Superman is probably my favorite version of him, where like he'll stop a train crash and then explain to everyone, hey, this is still a safe mode of transportation. Your railways are still safe. Everything's okay. And then he'll let the doctors go on to take everyone out. So he'll stop and have that moment of connecting with everyone to say, hey, it's okay. Crisis is over. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Like instead of just having a save it and disappear again, Superman, like, no, make a save, tell them it's okay. Then you can go.
Yeah. I agree, because I think that's what's so great about characters like Superman and Batman is that like barely 5 years since they've appeared in the comics, they have something in media for almost every decade.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And no matter from the Fleischer cartoons to George Reeves to like everything. Yeah. There's a little bit of everything in there for somebody. Like that's why I love Superman, and all that he can stand for is he stands for a little bit of everyone seeing the light in things. Like there's no reason that you can't when so many people do. Like yeah, there's a lot of evil in the world, but all you have to do is just take a tiny look at the good and you can hope again. That's his whole message. And like James understands that, and I think he's going to bring that full circle again. We're going to have an era of hope and compassion being the forefront of that character. And it in my mind it still was with Henry, just it was showcased in different ways. But I feel like James is going to showcase it to where no one's going to be able to say it didn't happen.
Yeah, because I think what I could, yeah, because I would have loved to see what Zack Snyder originally had in mind for with Superman, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure from where exactly, but as I mentioned earlier, that it was not his intention to create a shared DC universe. I think his plan was just mostly a trilogy of just Superman movies, but Warner Bros. Is basically telling him that, like, yeah, you got to make something so we can compete with Marvel. Ergo, how we got Dawn of Justice and Justice League as like the second and third movies.
Yeah, and yeah, had Warner Bros. Like the studio involvement will always be what messes it up. I believe that. And like whether, and I'm the conspiracy mind in my friend group, so whether like corporate espionage and how far Marvel went behind everything, if that ever will play into it or come to light, we'll see. But like
Yeah, that's I think.
bringing an Avengers director to finish the Justice League movie just didn't sit well with the Snyderverse fans at the time. So that's what it
Nope,
is.
nope, it did. I mean, there are some people who like the the Whedon cut, which I understand that because they were trying to bring some more of the hopefulness with seeing Henry back with a more colorful
Yeah.
suit.
like I can see that, but like when you're just doing it to do it is why you shouldn't do it. Like when there's already a story set up of hey, he's going to get back to that colorful suit, but there's a reason why he's doing it. Show out the reason, sure. Like if you're just showing a Superman movie of you're Superman, he's saving people and being Superman, cool. Make it colorful and popcorny and awesome. But if you're showcasing a story of why a person is growing into the character they're becoming the way they are, you need those like they're crucial pieces of the evidence of that story. So
I agree. That's why I think that's why I think my favorite episode from Superman Lois is from the first season. I think it was episode 11, where you see in Clark's mind like the flashbacks of him starting out being Superman, meeting Lois,
yeah.
and how like they're working together as reporters to
Mhm.
uncover with I forgot the name of that bad guy, the one that metal faced guy with the fire torches. I felt like that
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
that's
I can't think of his name either.
but that was such a good story of how like he
Mhm.
wants to save people from like all kinds of incidents, but he wants to do more wants to do more to really help out. So that's why he is spending time with Lois to investigate with this guy to try to protect
Mhm.
other local businesses.
He's also the the bumbling Clark is a good distraction, but Clark Kent should be a good reporter. Like that's what I want David to bring to the forefront. Was like we never got to see like yeah, Chris was a good magic trick of look here so I can be Superman here, but Clark should also be a humanitarian effort of he's actually caring about the people whose stories don't get told. That's why he's a reporter. That's why he's
Yeah,
there to help people. So, like Henry showcased that a lot of he wanted to actually help the people with his words, but like it just didn't. I don't know if it just didn't get the screen time it deserved to come across better. But like I got that, but a lot of people didn't get that out of it. So
yeah. I mean, because unfortunately, you got to try to convince people to watch the ultimate cut of
yeah,
that movie, and that's like 3 hours.
yeah, that can be a lot. But
Yeah, it's just
it's
that
worth
that's
it.
the problem
In
where
my
you're trying
opinion,
to
it is
show
so
people
worth
so
it.
much.
Is it showcased Clark being the investigative reporter that he is to make a difference for the people that need it.
Yeah, and I
It's
feel
like
like we're tied.
if David can do that, if he can do the job while also throwing people off the trail of Superman and just be a good reporter who's a clumsy, bumbling idiot, fantastic. And
Yeah,
then just also be Superman on the side. But like it's a careful balance.
yeah. Though at least they may change up his hairstyle in between looks.
Yeah, I would say no one's looking twice at Clark. Yeah, like
Yeah,
whereas
because
if it's the exact same cut and just one curl is brought down, I can see a little bit difference there. Yeah, that's a little bit easier to put the nail on.
I could definitely see All Star
Long
Superman
broccoli
influence.
cut. Ugh. The first set photos were like, it can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. it's that bad.
Yeah, I know. As when I first saw the look of Clark Kent with that hairstyle, it's like, wait, seriously? Because
Yep.
I mean, if they're going for a more modern look, I mean, I get it, but just I don't know, just because I think with All Star Superman, I think that was the influence for the unique differences between Clark and Superman.
Hmm.
But I feel like it should just be very like messy, combed down, not like a sort of perm job.
Yeah, like it can still look neat and not at all like Superman. Whereas you don't just have to, hi guys, how's it going? Like, no, that just doesn't work. It just look like trash. Fix it.
Yeah, I mean, I think at least in the few
Mm.
shots of the trailer, it does. I think it does work as far as for making people second guess if that's Superman.
Like it's a
But that's what I'm
curl.
hoping that. Maybe not as curly, but I don't know. But that's what I'm hoping that for if this is like a year 2 story or year 3 or something like
Yeah.
where he's still figuring things out, then maybe he'll fine tune that for later movies?
I have a certain viewpoint on it that it is the S specific curl is important to the brand of the character because it's a three-part symbolism of he puts an S on his chest, he puts an S on his back, and he puts one on his forehead. That way, no matter what part you see first, whether you only get a flash of you're in a house fire and you can see a glimpse of something of him, whether it's front, back, or face, you know it's Superman and you can trust him immediately. It's part of that brand of whether you're an old lady or an 8-year-old girl and you're in the middle of traffic and the car's about to hit you and you only have 1 second to be able to latch onto something who's about to be there, you know it's Superman. Whether you only see it's his face because that curl's there, you see his back, you see his front. He's got the branding in 3 places for that reason.
Hmm.
So I see it as it's more important than just a fun little hairstyle that's different. It's an actual part of the look. It is an identification for a reason of for the people who know Superman. That's part of Superman. That's the look? Is that curl's there?
I never thought of it like that with the curl as like
People
another S.
in my mind it always has been like Christopher Reeve portrayed it really well to where it was a perfect S curl and like even his flying shots you see it flap around but it's still like it's an S. um and so it was part of it of he took it as he never had to say he was Superman. You just saw him and said, oh, that's Superman. You knew. So
Yeah.
that's part of it of if you can maintain that, then like I think that David will be able to do that. But that's what I'm waiting to see about the most is if he takes it like a job or a responsibility.
I want to say he's definitely taking it as responsible because from what
Mhm.
I've seen a little bit on social media, he does seem to be a bit of like a fellow nerd.
Yes. He's a huge Star Wars nerd. I know that for sure.
Yeah, definitely that.
Aren't we all? Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess as far as for the title of this stream, like, you think this movie will be a good hit for DC?
I think it will be. It'll give the people who loved Man of Steel loved it because it showcased the action and the power for the first time of what it could be. So understanding that from here going forward, Gunn's going to give us the action that we deserve, but while giving us the other parts that people griped weren't there enough. So I think it'll be the good, well-rounded Superman movie that we're all waiting for.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Because after seeing what he's done with Creature Commandos, I definitely have a little more faith with what he's doing.
Yeah, like there's a plan in place, and I can already see it forming.
Yeah. Though I'll admit, I am more curious to see how he's going to handle Supergirl.
I'll be honest, I've not read the Woman of Tomorrow series. So as far as the storyline, I'm gonna have to dig into that to kind of get a glimpse of what they're looking to do with it.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely different. And with basically her living in like in a Kryptonian colony, or at least a little part of the planet.
Hmm.
So I wonder if his movie is going to tie into that one where like he finds her
Hmm.
or something, or she comes in close to Earth.
It might even be because like he brought in characters that we weren't expecting, like Cockrell and Guy Gardner and all them to Superman. He might have some other DC character pick up Supergirl.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I'm not
Like,
sure if you
connect a
saw
little
the
bit more dots into the universe that way.
yeah, because I'm not sure if you saw the latest episode, Creature Commandos, but it looks we're
Hmm.
definitely a good set of established characters already.
Yes. Yeah. And like the Clayface movie just being greenlit. I was curious about that until I saw the latest episode of Commandos, and I was like, okay, we're doing something here.
Yeah, because that version definitely looks very much like a horror movie vibe. So
Oh yeah, but like, and they're playing into proper shapeshifter. He can really play into any storyline anywhere kind of thing. So we don't know who else will pop up in that movie.
yeah, although I will laugh if we do get to see Superman at the end of the first season of Creature Commandos.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
That would be interesting to have that be our first glimpse at it. I don't know. I might rather wait and have it be live action. Like a separate animated project, sure, but I don't know about Commandos being that one because like it's not a kid friendly show. It's like why would you have your first appearance of Superman not be for that? I don't know.
true.
That's how I see it, but yeah, like not everything is about the kids. I get that. Like some of stuff is made for adults to enjoy, but also like that they'll see it when they get older. That's true.
Yeah. I mean, granted, we did see him in that vision of the future where everyone's like dead or so.
I'm excited for like comic accurate Wonder Woman costume again. That'll be nice. And Batman's silhouette of just how like puffy and big the cape looks on him. I'm excited for that. Like give Batman the big silhouette. Yes.
Yeah. Although I did not mind Gal Gadot's costume for it, but it
Oh,
looks like
like,
for
I
what.
was a fan, but like the Linda Carter just it hits home. Like it's hard to argue.
Yeah, from the shot, I think at least what looked like Wonder Woman, it looks like it's a very New 52 esque. I think.
But just like more gold instead of silver.
Yeah, I want to say so, but it's hard to tell like who's who somewhat because I mean I can recognize a few of them. I think I saw like Starfire was Superman, so because I know that James Gunn is
Yep.
playing a Teen Titans movie at
Yep.
some point.
He also just confirmed that they had Wally West was one of the background characters too.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a few people put into it that like it's very in the background of those spikes, but they confirmed some characters. Like a Guy Gardner is on one of the spikes. Um, it's interesting. Like my thing is like how we get to that and how wide that affects everything and everybody in it. I'm I'm surprised no one's pieced it together yet. Like what threat is that big that it could take out that many of the DC A-listers, and no one's quite called it yet.
I'm not sure either because like the closest I could think of would be would be Darkseid and his forces. That's the closest I could think of where they would be able to do
Mhm.
that. That and of course Doomsday, but
And like they've got Grodd in there, so like mind control's a part of it. Like it, they amplify mind control through some other facets, like Mister Terrific's tech or something. Then they can get pretty hairy pretty quick.
yeah. It's just so funny how like this new movie is going to be connected with the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and Creature Commandos.
It, yeah, like Unsaid, it's canon to everything that he says is canon, pretty much. I'm like, cool, okay. So we're just
Yeah,
in DC now.
yeah. As personally, I feel like it shouldn't be a soft reboot. I feel like it should be more or less complete reboot. But oh well.
Because to say we're not using Henry, we're going towards an earlier part in Superman's career, and then not give us a fresh starting out Superman, like that initially made a lot of people mad, but we'll just have to see what he does with it and why. And like, there's also, he said that, he had talks with Henry about future stuff and future projects. So whether the Snyderverse cast becomes the Crime Syndicate, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that'd be good. Or I would say like yeah, or they continue like Snyder's version just as an Elseworld story, or
Mhm.
or I would say like Henry could do like either the actual Kingdom Come Superman or
Like a Red Sun Superman story.
yeah, that one too. Yeah, because I mean, because Cavill's only just like I want to say at least just 10 years older than David.
Yeah, it's not much.
And they look alike. I mean,
Yeah, I believe that Henry Cavill will look as good as he does now until he's like 70.
yeah,
Like, him and Hugh Jackman just aren't really going to age. They'll be kicking it way
yeah,
later.
yeah. Because actually, now that I think about it, if it because James Gunn stated that he's going to do like different time periods with his DC movies, his universe.
Mhm.
So like, if they want to do a story that's like 10 or 20 years in the future, then perfect. You can just have Henry be the older Superman.
I've had that thought of setting aside certain actors to just play certain time periods and back and forth. And like even going to like Justice Society era. You can still bring back like Grant Gustin to play a different Flash from an earlier time period. Like you can bring other actors to serve other purposes that we'll know and will give them their fan service, but will still be a unique yet crucial part of the new story.
Yeah. 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 So say just to everyone here that yeah, because like there may be some things that were handled better back in the day, but I say we should still keep this pretty optimistic for how this movie is going to be when it's actually out, or at least if we get a more in-depth trailer, because I do want to see some more interactions of how Superman's going to talk with other people, especially with Lois, or I think as you point out, I think I want to see him how he's going to interact with kids.
The dialogue will make or break it. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm reserved to, is how he talks to people will be how the movie does.
Yeah.
If he can maintain that level of integrity as both characters and make those conversations honest and not just cheesy one-liners, then I think we're in pretty good shape. But like it's not the place to just have a bunch of cheap undercutting jokes. Like there's a time and place for it. Put him in Peacemaker, not Superman. And I think Gunn has heard that enough that he understands that. So
Yeah, because he
I'm
has stated that
not
he's going to
worried.
direct this differently than
Yeah.
his other works.
Yeah, I'm not worried. He understands how serious the character is and to what degree it needs to be held. So
Yeah, but I'll say that's probably that'd be it for today. Just want to thank you again, Taylor, for being part of this stream, and want to thank
absolutely, man.
and want to thank all you viewers for chiming in with your questions and stuff. And again, let's just hope for the best in this upcoming July when the movie's out.
Hey, truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. That's what it's all about, right?
Yep. So happy holidays to all of you, and let's go
Absolutely.
enjoy 2025.
Have a good New Year, guys.